Go ahead, shoot it.
All right, so, a couple weeks now working with the O-line in spring. Just how's the group gelled so far? A couple new guys.
Good. They're all working. Right now what we're doing is we're trying to see who can play, not necessarily who the best five are. Our job is to find out who can do what we ask them to do in the run game, who can do in the pass protection, and then at a later date, we'll worry about gelling those guys into 5, 8, 9, 10 guys, right? So what Coach Cristobal and I, what we're looking at now is, who can we trust? Like, who can we trust to play in a game against another opponent, right? So our job is to get as many of those guys as we can to trust, right? Right now we feel we got maybe 8, 9 of them that we can trust to go in. And when I say trust, I'm talking about that they're going to know what to do, why to do, and how to do it on every single play. It's not, hey, can I trust them with my wallet or my keys? That's not the type of trust we're talking about, right? Because we trust them in them, all of them in those aspects of it. It's more, we're just trying to get as many guys that we can trust that'll be able to play in a game.
How do you? I mean, when you get to that point, how do you get to that point where everyone's gelling together? Because last year's O-line, they played together every game. They seemed like they had very good chemistry.
Because they were tough. So when the guys show up every game and play every game, it's not because they're lucky, it's because they're tough. Because trust me, all 5 of those guys at some point in the season were injured, were hurt, and were beat up, but they chose to play for each other. To me, that's what toughness is. Toughness is that you show up every single day for practice and for games, regardless of how your body feels, right? So, and then our job as coaches, okay, these are the guys that we can trust. How do we get the best 5 out of that to go compete?
What do you feel has been stepping up as far as leadership-wise?
Inez Cooper and Jalen Rivers. I think Inez Cooper has been the transformation that young man has done since he came on campus 3 years ago with his hair down over his eyes because he wasn't confident speaking to people, and just the way he is right now, he's transformed his body, he's transformed his look, his hair, he's transformed his physique from almost a 400-pound man to a 338-pound man. His confidence, his leadership, all that, and that stuff that with Jabo and Matt going to the next level, other guys they get to grow, right? Sometimes it's hard to grow in the shade. When you cut the shrubbery out, now here comes the sun and other guys can grow. And he's one of those guys that has grown in that manner. And then I think Jalen Rivers, he's one of those, he's just a steady guy. He's the quiet guy, the one no one ever talks about, the one everybody wants to move to different positions, but he's always there. So Coop is a little more of the vocal leader. And Jalen is more of, hey, this is how this is the example guy, in terms of that. So they're both lead, but in their own style and in their own personality, which is awesome to see. For me, I take as much pride in how they grow as young men, as how they grow as leaders, as how they grow as a right guard or as a left tackle.
With Jalen being left tackle year over year, how big is that for his development?
You know what? It's awesome, right? Because you can stay in one spot, right? When you could stay in one spot, you get to work out the kinks. Now today he ended up he slid into left guard today, and we'll keep sliding him around because at the end of the day I owe it to him and his future, that versatility, right? To me, that's a great thing because wherever he ends up going, hey, you're going to be a left guard now, or you're going to be a right guard, and shame on me if I haven't prepared him for that. Everybody thinks it's easy. It's not easy. It's not easy to be in a left-handed stance and all of a sudden, hey, you're on the right side. It's completely different. It's like doing everything left-handed, right-handed, right? So we continue with that versatility. But yeah, is it nice if for him to be able to be in one spot and just kind of grow there? Yeah. And the other reason, we're kind of keeping him at left tackle for the most part right now, and Coop at right guard for the most part right now, just because it also helps the other guys grow. It also helps the other guys grow. It helps whoever we have at left guard. It helps them grow when Jalen's next to him, right? Today, we slid Jalen into left guard and we put Markel Bell at left tackle. Why? Because it's going to help Markel Bell grow as a left tackle when you're next to a vet like that. And the vet will just look at you and say, hey, you got him. You know what I'm saying? That kind of deal. So that's another thing that I don't think a lot of times people factor in, right? So when Inez Cooper's playing right guard and Zach's at center or Ryan's at center like they both were today with the ones, right? Them being next to Coop helps them grow, right? Coop at right guard, and then you've got Sampson at right tackle, you've got Matt McCoy at right tackle, you got Bruno at right tackle, all taking reps with the ones. They grow because they're next to a vet like Coop. And I think that's what's important. That's what I get lost in. I know all the fans and the media, they want to know who's starting. I don't care about that. I care about finding guys that we as a program can trust so that they can roll. and that to me is huge.
Can you talk about Samson? Sorry, talk about Samson.
You know
a
what?
little bit.
Samson's been awesome. Samson's been a guy who got hurt. I don't remember what week he got hurt last year, but he got hurt last year and hurt his knee. And he's a guy that in rehab, he wanted to play more than he wanted to be hurt. So that drove him to rehab. Best guy I've ever been around in my 18 years coaching in college of rehabilitation and just wanting to come back because it means that much to him, right? And everybody says, hey, what? He don't care. He's out there. He's like a kid at Christmas because he's able to play football again, and it don't matter. Right now he's taking reps today he took reps at left tackle, left guard, and right tackle, right? And it helps him. Any rep he takes at left guard is going to help him as a left tackle. Any reps he takes at left tackle is going to help him as a right tackle. So that's what we're lost in as a football program. We have no depth chart, organizational chart, none of that. You don't got to give that to the Tuesday of the Florida week, right? So it's just something that he's just growing, and he's just happy that he's back to playing football, and he's having a great time doing it. But just a determined young man to be able to come back.
Is he close though to being one of the five? One of the five.
He's close to being one of the guys that we trust.
Right.
Yeah. How about that?
How is he adjusting? Because obviously he's recruiting as a tackle. I think primarily.
Well, I don't recruit anybody as nothing.
Oh.
And if you ever sat in my room, I'll tell the recruits that I recruit you as, are you an offensive lineman or you're a right guard? You're an offensive lineman. Why do I tell them that? If you're an offensive lineman, you've got 5 opportunities to play. If you only say, I'm only a right tackle, guess what? You got 1 opportunity. That's foolish on your part. At the end of the day, these kids want to play on the field, right? Jalen Rivers was a left tackle in high school. Samson Okonola was a left tackle in high school. Francis Mawinoa, left tackle in high school. Inez Cooper, tackle in high school. Matt McCoy, tackle in high school. They're all tackles. Well, you all can't be left tackles, right? So you got to play a specific spot. The best offensive tackle in the NFL right now was Penei Sewell. He was a right tackle in high school, right? When he came to us at the other place that we were at, we had a right tackle started 54 games. Hey, Penei, you got to go play left side. But I don't know. Go play left side. Gets drafted in the first round, he's back to right tackle, right? So at the end of the day, they're offensive linemen. They're not tackles, they're not guards, they're not centers. They are what they are, So we don't pigeonhole them, and they don't pigeonhole themselves. I know the media, the fans, you guys get lost in that. The program, the players, they don't, which is fantastic.
How does having a veteran at quarterback like Cam Ward
phenomenal? Man, he is our program today. We are more physical, and we are tougher, and we have a chip on our shoulders because that's who our quarterback is. Our quarterback is tough, he is physical, and he's got a chip on our shoulder, and the rest of the program feeds off of it, right? So those guys up front, I mean, they feed off it. I know a lot of people, that what he did, taking all those guys out to dinner, he won them jokers now, right? So those guys, they love Cam. The defense loves Cam. And like I said, he's just I love him because I love what he's about. He's an honorary old lineman. He's got that edge to him. And because of that, those guys are going to battle and fight for him. He's like that. Reese has got an edge to him. Emery's tough as hell. Judd is tough. JP. So we got a tough quarterback room. Typically, those guys, you would think that they're the anti that. These guys are all that. So it's been awesome, and he's good. He's a vet. He don't get flustered. He's a vet. He's been under the fire and stuff like that. And, we're trying to help him understand our protection scheme and stuff. But he's been fantastic. Love being around that young man, and I know the offensive line loves him.
We're going to do a few more questions. Markel is a
Big Bell.
What do you call him?
Big Bell.
Big Bell. He's very large.
Yes.
When people see a guy like that, do you think they have assumptions that either he's going to be really, really good because he's really, really big, or maybe the other way, he's going to be clumsy or something?
Well, he's really, really big. He's really, really good, and he's going to be really, really good for the Canes, right? And he's a guy that he's almost 6'9", I believe, right? And he's like 325, 330 pounds, but he can bend his knees, he can move his feet. The best thing about Kel is tough, and he's a great listener. Great listener. So he's gotten tremendously better. I know I just made that phrase up. But throughout our practices. At Holmes Community College, he was coached. He went to Holmes not because he wasn't a qualifier, because he was. He went to Holmes because he wanted to get, quote unquote, better offers, right? So he went to Holmes. He was coached by their offensive line coach named Les George, who I've known for a while, who's a good football coach. So he comes with a background to him. And, the question Susan, that people usually ask, hey, have you ever played basketball, right? So yes, he has. So he's got good feet. He's got great length. It's not that he's tall, it's that he's long. He's got really long arms, and it's not the same. But he's developing tremendously. He's another one of those kids like a Samson who's on the verge of earning our program's trust to be able to play.
Would he benefit from a developmental year? Sorry.
We don't believe in developmental years here because of the fact that there's never a guarantee, right? So we're going to win. We're going to win, and it's important for us to win now, right? So there's no, hey, save him for a year, save him for 2 years. You know how it goes. Football has its own plan, right? God has his own plan. So he might have to play like tomorrow. That's my job. My job's not to, hey, he's got 2 years before he's got to play, or he's got a year before he's got to play. My job is, my job, I'm hired to make sure that if Markel Bell has to play, that first game that he's ready to go. You know what I'm saying? And I think if you have that attitude as a coach, you're going to help them grow. If your attitude is as a coach is, oh, he's got a year, then you're going to, well, you know what, we'll get to that. No, we're not going to get to that. We're going to push the envelope with him because, every year is not going to be like last year. Every year is not going to be like last year where those 5 can ride for 12 games. So we've got to make sure that those guys are ready. So that's not my mentality at all. That's not Kel's mentality at all. That's not Coach Cristobal's mentality at all.
What does Carpenter show to this point?
Camp Carpenter, toughness, leadership, veteran eyes, a steadying presence inside, every day he gets better and better. He started out at Michigan, then went over to, and started there, then went over to Indiana, started there for 2 years, but a very, very bright young man. He's a kid, I don't know if you guys seen him, but he snaps left-handed. He's really right-handed, right? He's right-handed, where he tore his thumb 2 years ago at Indiana, right? And they moved him to guard, and whoever was a center at Indiana was struggling. Whoever they put in for him was struggling. So after practice, he taught himself how to snap left-handed, right? And then 2 games later, he was back in starting left-handed. So he's ambidextrous. You gotta be smart to be able to do that, right? You gotta be able to flexible mentally and physically. So that's what we got in Zach, and it's awesome. I'm fired up to see him grow. In his own way, he's done a good job of leadership too, right? And because of Coop and because of Jalen, he's been able to come in and just fit in and worry about, hey, 4 down, this, that, and the other, our communication, instead of really having to be the one who rounds the group up and goes to watch film. Right now, once he gets a spring under his belt, he'll be the one doing that. But he's been tremendous for us, and I'm fired up to see him continue to get better.
Thank you, Coach.